everyone. I'm going to show you today how to do some really cool things. So um, one of them is the selected edit tool. So this is my original image and you'll notice the sky is darker, but if you look carefully also in the original, there's a dumpster and a shadow. And oh, look at that. Those are gone too. So, whoa, how did I do that? Did it all in Lightroom. And I'm going to show you my tricks right now. Or they're not really my tricks, they're just tricks. So we'll start with the easy one, which is I'm going to go back to my original image, which is how do I mess with this. Now, first of all, before I do anything, if I want to do a global edit, this is the time to do it. Global edit is, again, when you're playing around with things like the light profile. So maybe I'm going to reduce the exposure, maybe increase, do stuff like that. So yeah, global edit. I kind of like the way that looks. So I'm going to say done. But I want to intensify my sky a little bit here without messing with this a little bit more, because as I bring this down, I like how that's kind of becoming more intense, but this is getting a little bit too dark for me. So not so crazy about that. So let me show you my tricks. I'm going to head over to my masking tool, hit plus, go to linear gradient this time instead of radial gradient. I'll start at the top and I'll just drag down. And there we are. And I have to actually be on the image. Now this is my linear gradient. And there's a start point, as you can see up here, and a middle point and an end point. And I can also rotate that down at the bottom here. So I can change, for example, how much this tapers down from the bottom, like that. See that? So I can make it come up, come down. I can also do the same thing up here. So I could kind of bring this down and say, like, we're going to apply the whole gradient here to the sky. And at some point, it's going to kind of just gradually fade away. So this sort of makes more sense to me to get something like that. And then I want it, of course, rotated so it's going right across the screen. So I don't want to have some wacky angle coming down, right? I probably don't want this all the way up because I don't want to taper it all the way up there. So I think I'll just kind of stop maybe about there. Your eye will not know the difference. So I'm going to go back to light, head over to exposure, start bumping this down. And I can start playing around with all the usual subjects. And you can see that it's not messing with my railroad tracks, which is totally awesome. And I'm getting some great effects here. So I can get a really vivid sky without messing with the rest of this, which I love. So easy. And I hit done. And of course, I can go ahead and save that as a version. So I'll create a version, and I think I'll call this one linear because, or maybe sky, because it just shows that's what I manipulated there. But I'll probably create another video for this, but I just want to show you, this is really driving me crazy. I love this shot, but this shadow right here and this dumpster in the background just doesn't work for me. I want to get rid of that. So I'm going to show you now, but I'll create another video as well going into more detail about this. I'm going to go to the healing brush tool, which is right here. And it's just like before. I've got the size of the healing brush tool, so I can move that back and forth and see what that's a preview again, giving me an idea of what that's gonna look like. Feather, okay, that we talked about before. I definitely want a gradual feather for this. Opacity, usually for something like this, I'm gonna have my opacity kind of up higher. That means like it's just gonna intensely do it. So what I have to do is define my start point. So I'm trying to get rid of my dumpster. So that's what I'm gonna define as the start point. So I'm gonna start to draw around the dumpster. And maybe get rid of that sign there. Maybe get rid of the sign too. I don't like that sign. And I let go, and it not Illustrator. What's it called? Lightroom sort of defines a source point. So what it's doing is it's basically taking from somewhere else and saying, okay, that's what we're going to apply there. I don't really want that. I want like trees and stuff like that. So I'm going to grab this part over here. And I'm going to move it over here and say, no, let's grab from there. And I sort of have to just line it up and look for a good spot. And I can see that just by doing that, it didn't quite grab what I wanted. So I think I'm going to add, oops, if it lets me. So I have to move this around. I think I'll move this. No, maybe I need to increase the size of this a little bit, or the feather. Maybe I have to decrease the feather. Yeah, there we go. Because I went too close. That hides it nicely. The only problem is, like, I feel like when I look at this, I see that bush repeated twice. So I'm going to try to move this over and see if I can grab something that's a little bit less descript. And I'm lining up like the bottom. See, I don't want this track right there or where the dirt ends not lining up. So I'm going to kind of move that around so it's a nice fit. And I'm going to hit done. And that's what I have. So it looks okay. I'm not totally enthused by that. So maybe what I'm going to do again is create another one where I'll start something here and maybe move it to about here, and then just grab from another point and just feather that out. So it just doesn't have that same sense of repeat completely. It's not as obvious. So I'll try to grab something that's a little bit less descript. Maybe another part of this tree over here. And I'll just increase the size just a little bit. So I'm just trying to kind of like mess with your mind. Let's see if I say done. And it's not perfect, but if I mouse down, look, dumpster, no dumpster, dumpster, no